Hello and welcome to CivilNet, where we're celebrating international films in the heart of Yerevan at the Golden Apricot Film Festival. And joining us in studio is a person who's familiar to our audiences, filmmaker Suzanne Khardalian. She's been here before presenting her documentary, Grandma's Tattoos. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We have the film being screened now, but you are here on another mission this time.
Yeah, I'm happy to say that I'm a member of the jury for the International Documentary Competition.
So that means a lot of film
There's a lot of long hours of watching and sitting in the dark, and then but funny and fun part of deliberating, talking about it, discussing. And we were a very nice team from different countries, and it's very much fun.
As film fans, we love seeing the plethora of films, like you said, from all around the world. What's it like in the jury pool? Are there Armenian and non-Armenian jury members?
Well, look, I'm the only Armenian, but in this case representing Sweden, let me say, because I'm coming from Sweden. The others are coming from different parts of Europe. So we're really, different nationalities there, with different point of views about politics and social issues and all that, both from East Europe and Western Europe. So it's a good mixture, and that's why I think today we had a fantastic discussion, actually.
So walk us through. You're seeing movies, and at the end of each day?
We start today with watching films. There are two feature-length films every morning, and then we sit and discuss and try to see. Well, we have to look for the best film, and that means lots of things, because what is best film? And
what do you look for? What does Suzanne Khardalian look for in a good film?
Well, I'm looking for a film that creates meaning. That will be, not just for today. That's if I watch it in 10 years' time, it will still give me that meaning. And of course, the cinematographic aspects of it, the technical parts of it, how well it's done, and all that is there. But what mostly interests me personally is that really, what is the message, and more than that, what is the meaning? Where is this film heading? Why are we watching this film in the first place? And often there are different points of views about that.
So there's difference in where different people from the jury are coming from. Yes. What are other people looking for?
The question is that because it's documentary, often you get films that are very much actual. It's about what's happening around us now, like Syria. We have two Syrian films,
yes,
exactly.
Yes.
So there are two fantastic Syrian films, one done by a British guy, and then the other one is a Syrian guy. I would like to isolate the impact of today's politics as much as possible, because it can, I don't want to fall into the trap of being drawn away by emotions of the film. War is a sad thing. War is horrible. There's nothing else to say about it. It is, I cannot argue against that. But besides all the pictures of seeing the killing and the suffering, I would like to have something more. And that's what we're looking for.
It's a tough task. When you have a fresh war with millions of
displaced.
It is very
difficult. You can't just close your eyes and pretend it doesn't exist. It takes your energy, but at the same time, there are so many films are done, like about Syria, for example. If we take the Syrian case, and in the sea of pictures, because we're watching the similar pictures on TV almost every day, it has to be really very much different. It has to give you meaning. It has to create meaning out of this horrible suffering and the chaos that is surrounding us.
If we can make
sense. If we can. We're trying to make sense and create meaning.
You have a tough task ahead. I won't ask you the question of what's your favorite so far, because
no,
I
can't.
Cannot. But I can ask you, what has been the most outstanding documentary that you've seen that you keep going back to in your lifetime? Is there one that stands out?
I always go back to Shoah, because it's Claude Lanzmann's film about the Holocaust. It's a fantastic documentary. It's 9 hours long and all that, but the 9 hours are like, you know, fantastic minutes of exactly what I said, giving meaning to life. And that, of course, is always in my head. But recently I was watching Joshua Oppenheimer, his 2 films about the Indonesian genocide, for example, The Act of Killing, and the last one, The Look of Silence. These are amazing films which, you know, are always in, I'm almost dreaming about them. They're 2, you know, dealing with very, very difficult issues. A human being killing another human being, or sometimes a human's killing thousands of human beings, you know, in a row. But at the same time, keeping, you know, this dignity, dealing with respect with the victim. So there are lots of things that and the moral issues. You know, how do you deal with these victims? I don't want to profit from their humiliation. I want to. I don't want to you know, profit from their humiliation, their suffering, and all that. I want to give them dignity. I want to give back their dignity. And these films are things that, you know, make the human beings, bring them up from the abyss, and then give them a new value, human value.
And you have first-person experience with these stories.
Yeah.
Your film came out 3 years ago. Tell us about your documentary.
Well, you can almost feel that my interest is always lying in this human aspect of you know, the little man and the big world. How this little man is fighting against the big bosses, the big companies,
Corporate entities, governments.
It's all kinds of things, you know. And in that fight, I see the meaning of life, you know. Making grandma's tattoos was my effort of putting our experience, which is ours, all of us sitting here, bringing it into the dimensions of universality. Because it's a universal issue, I would like to bring it to the attention of everybody else. I'd like to give a meaning to what we went through. I'd like to give a meaning to the suffering of my grandma, and that was my intention with, you know, making the grandma's tattoos, which is about the fate of the women during the Armenian Genocide.
And for those of you who haven't seen the film yet, let's take a quick look at a trailer. From Grandma's Tattoos by Suzanne Khardalian. When did you start thinking about your grandma's tattoos? How old were you when you started noticing?
Oh my God. Well, this is a very difficult question that bothers me until today, because I had never seen it until I discovered it when I made the film. Well, saying that, of course I had seen it. But what I'm trying to tell is that I saw them, but at the same time I took them away. I had erased them from our memory, from my memory. Her signs had been erased from the memory of my family. So rediscovering that took me, I would say, 40 years. You know, it didn't help that I had studied about the genocide. It didn't help that the school was teaching me about it, that my teachers were talking about it. I needed to come to the women of Rwanda, the genocide victims of the Rwandan genocide. And then from then reflect back to our situation and discover those horrifying pictures of these tragic pictures of the Armenian women in the archives of Geneva. And by just chance, you know, you see something and then it triggers something in you. And this is what happened. I saw this lady, the picture of this lady with her hand on her tummy and all tattooed and her sad eyes. And then I couldn't sleep that night because somehow it just reminded me of my grandma, but I couldn't connect it until I said, yes, it's these things. These are the signs that you know, is connecting me back to her. And then it started this hunt for her signs, I call, because it wasn't easy. Nobody wanted to admit it. Nobody wanted to talk about it.
There's a lot of shame involved.
There was so much shame, and I would say there was so much guilt involved in this, you know. And once you find out the truth about, you know, behind these tattoos, I was myself struck by it. I like, you know, as if they're by a magic hand, this shame, this feeling of guilt is transmitted to you, and you know, you say, oh yes, I knew about this all my life. But at the same time, I have tried all my life, not see it, neglect it, put it on the carpet, and just, you know,
bury the pain.
Bury the pain and pretend that it's not there. But of course, it's there all the time.
Well, it's a monumental film, and it's had a really good exposure. I recently saw it a few months ago on Al Jazeera.
That's great.
Where else has the film played?
Well, the film has played, I mean, I don't want to count. I can only say it's all over the planet. It's been even shown in Japan, on Japanese TV, in Korea, in India. I have seen the film together with 2,000 Indian women in a tent, under a tent.
And what do you feel at that moment? Are you reliving the pain on the screen, or are you comforted by the audience?
No, I think I have gone through that now. It's a stage that I have, you know, that I've accepted to live with the pain. But what I see in the eyes of the visitors, the understanding that is so immediate, you know. They see the film and then they relate it directly to something they recognize. Whether it's in Argentina, for example, I was showing the film in Argentina and all the Latin American countries about their disappearing sons and daughters, where, you know, you lose someone and you don't know nothing about it. It's the junta, it's the, you know, it's the violence, and they were like directly relating it to their own experience, and then suddenly your pain and her pain or hers, it becomes one pain. And this is what I wanted to happen. I want us to understand that this is one experience that is common to, that belongs to all of us.
Now you're doing a lot of traveling from home in Sweden to Jerusalem. Do tell, what's in the works?
Well, it's nothing new in the sense that coming back to Jerusalem is nothing new, because I have worked in the Middle East for almost all my life. You know, filming in Egypt. I've been filming in Egypt for the last 3 years, and then now I've moved to the next topic, and I'm now working on a topic that has to do with the Palestinian and Jewish conflict, Israeli conflict, where this time I have chosen the city itself as a character.
A divided city?
I don't want to talk about all these things. I would like to talk about the people who inhabit in this city, the people of Jerusalem, and how politics is shaping it, you know, how politics is shaping the life of everybody, Israeli or Palestinian or Jewish or whoever. And the hero in this case is the city itself. So I'm trying to work on that. So probably I'll be spending some time there.
So how soon can we see this new film?
Well, my intention is to have it ready by 2017? 19? Well, like in the 2 years' time.
Right around the corner.
Yes.
And are you working on other projects at the same time? You mentioned
well, yes,
Egypt.
I'm working. I actually teach at the university, so I'm doing as well as research at the university. I'm working on a team which is for a while now. The first book has already come up. It's about film, image, and how through film and image memory is transmitted. How the film itself becomes a memory. How specifically how traumatic memory becomes a traumatic memory of the watcher, not the one who, you know, you watch something, the trauma is there, and then once you watch it, what you've seen becomes your own experience. This is what film does, so I'm trying to work on that. At the same time, I'm teaching at different places. I have workshops. I will soon have a workshop in Amman with filmmakers and journalists, so I'm moving around.
Okay. Before my final question, how do people find out about you? Do you have a web page or a Facebook page?
Yeah, I have all my films. They have their own, sites. So you go in, and then one leads to another. So you can always come, somehow find me.
Okay. So final question. You said, your whole process is trying to make sense of the experience of a human being in the fight between the small man and the big entities. Yes. How do, as the small men in this experience, how do we raise our awareness of what we're doing, how we're doing it? How do we know what our fight is about?
I'm fighting with that question until now, and actually somehow your question takes me to the question of religion. And I'm working on a new project which is about religion, and how believing in God or not believing in God is transforming our lives, especially in changes that's going around us nowadays. The politics, the globalization, the ISIS issue, the religions drafting apart and all that. It is very difficult, but what I always look at it is we're all sitting in a vessel. We're on a destination that we don't know what that destination is. You are maybe destined, or you have decided that your destination is God. I don't know what my destination is, but someone else has decided his destination is something else. But we're all going to trying to achieve a destination, and in that process, what are we doing? And in that process, how the little person is, being crushed time after time, and that is something that fascinates me. And somehow becoming the spokesperson of those who are not heard becomes somehow my mission, I say, or that's how I look upon my work. I cannot be silent. See someone suffering and not reflect that is a failure for me. And
after all, that's what our grandparents went through.
Exactly. So I don't know. Maybe I'm more. My tendency to focus on these conflicts and that is coming from the experience of our the genocide of our grandparents, but that is something that is in the back of my head all the time, and I should say it's not a funny place, because it makes you uncertain, it makes you doubt, and someone was asking the other day, what is, if you want to say one sentence, what's the nature of your films, or what do you want to call them? And I said, you know what, I'm saying, all of my films are saying, God, where are you? God, where have you been? Why aren't you taking responsibility? So in that perspective, I'm very much somehow focused on the issue of belief, God, and coming back to that. I don't know if it's a age crisis or something, I don't know. It could be that, but I think every human being at a certain point in his life or her life start to meditate about those questions, and they're important. Yes, exactly. Where you have to put these questions, because otherwise you feel pointless. What is the meaning of life?
really good questions to ask through documentary films. A lot of great documentary films on screen at the Golden Apricot Film Festival, including yours. You're not in competition, but people have had the chance to see it. Search for Grandma's Tattoos online, and you can look for other websites linked from there. Thank you very much for taking time after all the deliberations with your colleagues to come and talk to us.
Absolutely, it was fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you at home for joining us on CivilNet. See you next time.